So the DW-8000 is arguably the most famous vintage budget hybrid synth, but I'm not quite sure why it has such a reputation. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Zach Marr from Alamo Music here in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications. This is our Alamo Sound Lab channel where we talk about all things music tech related. And today we're looking at the Korg DW-8000 and asking the question, is it worth it? Is all the hype validated? There's a lot of hype around this specific hybrid instrument, and I probably should have learned my lesson. Anytime I make a video mildly talking negative about any kind of vintage synth, I tend to get panned, and oftentimes I realize what I missed the first go around. But I'll be honest, the first go around on the DW-8000, I've played through the other two kind of, in my mind, the other contenders for best vintage hybrid synth, the ESQ1 from Ensoniq and the K3 from Kawai. And the DW-8000 left me desiring a little bit more, given kind of the hype and the reputation it has and how many people swear by it. It does have a wonderful tone. It is pretty warm. It's very dark. And it does have some interesting things about it. But I just didn't bond with it initially in my initial playing with it, in my initial kind of experimentation. So maybe I'm missing something, but that's just my initial impressions. Let's talk about, though, from a technical standpoint, what makes this synth interesting and unique. So what's really cool is this, from what I can tell, is the first budget hybrid synth that was ever put to market. I thought it was the ESQ1, but it looks like this one predates it by a year. Dates are often a little fishy online. There's different people saying different things, so I can't 100% say that, but someone mentioned that in a comment, and as I've looked more, it does seem like this is the actual first budget hybrid synth. And what's interesting to me about it, one, the filter is Korg's own filter. A lot of the other hybrid synths and synths that weren't hybrid analog synths at the time were using Curtis chips, or they're using SSM chips. And this one uses Korg's own filter chip, and so it's got its own filter sound. And from what I could find, it's unique to the DW-8000 and 6000. It's not used in any of the other Korg synths. Again, I couldn't verify that, so there were some people saying the Poly 800 had a similar filter, but others saying no, it's different. It's like a modified one. It's a little richer on this one. So can't find anything hard technical documents. I probably can look at the schematic with the help of a technician, but that to me is interesting that it is its own thing. This is early hybrid technology, so they used what they called DWGS, digital kind of waveforms saved in ROM. You know, there were 8-bit waveforms. There are 16 of them on here, and it's really lo-fi, early digital technology combined with the analog filter is what creates the magic. And it's a variety of waveforms. They are both kind of analog, classic analog waveforms, and also like the basic instruments that everybody wanted realistic tones for, like piano, bass, brass, string tones as well. So it's got 16 different ones. They actually put them up here. You can see what the waveforms look like if it was through an oscilloscope. And each patch is made up of 2 of the waveforms stacked. You can tune them to be detuned, and you can do a number of other kind of interesting things to kind of create interesting patches, change the scale. And other than that, you have another big feature that made this interesting was the digital delay. That was a really big deal. And I think the way it was implemented was also really a big deal. I believe the oscillators pass through the filter, the analog filter, and then it passes through the digital delay. It's interesting because a lot of these early primitive digital instruments, you get kind of digital artifacts. The computer processors were so limited that you get, when you're messing with the parameters in real time, you can get these kind of, some people find them interesting, others find them kind of gross sounding, but you get digital artifacts. And especially with the digital delay on this, you can hear weird artifacts when you're playing with it. You also have Aftertouch, which you can route to a few different modulation destinations, which is a nice touch as well. And you have an Arpeggiator, which is pretty basic, but it does allow for kind of a programmable, so you can play the notes in any order, and it will hold that order. So it's a nice piece. One of the best parts from a performance standpoint is when you are on a patch and you have this is in line with a lot of the other synths of that era where everything was hidden under the hood and you kind of had to dial in different parameters and modify them accordingly. One nice thing is the last parameter that you modified, you can save that to be the setting that comes up. So if you want some kind of real-time, hands-on modification of the sound, and you have a particular part of the program that gives you the most bang for the buck, you can leave it on that, and when you go to that patch, you can modify it accordingly, and it saves that so you don't have to manually select every time. A lot of people like that from a kind of some expression level when you're using the instrument. There is an aftermarket controller that brings the controls out to life by, I think, Retroactive. I haven't ever got to play with it, but that looks really cool. Maybe one day I'll make a video exploring that. There's also Aftermarket Mods. One of the reasons this one wasn't a wild success was that it was hybrid, and that wasn't particularly desirable. People were really wanting all digital synths. This had digital effects, which is really cool and kind of groundbreaking, and people like that. But the fact that an analog filter was probably not viewed with a lot of positivity. So what really was counted against it was that this was monotimbral. You couldn't stack patches on top of each other. There is an aftermarket mod that allows you to do that, but out of the box, you weren't able to do that. So it was monotimbral. It wasn't all digital, so it wasn't going to move the needle that much. It was an affordable hybrid, and so a lot of people did still buy it. It just wasn't a wild success given the era. This was the era of the DX7 where everybody was racing to create their own versions, their own digital synths, and make a mark on synthesizer history. This, since then, has definitely gained a cult status and a cult following, and Korg has continued to pay homage to the legacy. The Korg mod wave that is in the Korg mod wave is in the lineage of the DW-8000 with the wavetable format, and using that to kind of carry that history into the modern era. I'm real excited to get my hands on one and play it and see how it compares to this original DW-8000. But without talking too much more, let's take a listen and you can hear it for yourself. So there you have it. The DW-8000, there are better videos online of people playing it, I know. But my initial impression, I did not bond with this instrument. I think I need to play with it a little more and get the feel, get the sound. We're gonna do a comparison between the DW-8000, the ESQ1, and the K3 and make a definitive, in our opinion, declaration about how they are ranked. But as of now, I'm definitely not leaning towards this one as the first place. Maybe it's the patches. Maybe I need to spend some more time programming it. I will do both. But that's just my 2 cents. What do you think? Do you love the DW-8000? Have you had experience with other vintage hybrids, and how would you rank them, especially in the budget category? Love to hear your thoughts below. Any details I left out, comments, please leave them below. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and if you want to talk more, find us online at alamomusic.com. We'd love to chat, email, give a call. Love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and until next time.